Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. We are in the thick of fantasy football draft season, and with that, we are bringing in our draft expert, or at least that's what he calls himself. He wrote the script. So it is our draft expert, Dusty Baker. Dusty, we've talked running backs, we've talked receivers on this show. Today, we're talking about two positions that have a wide range of fantasy values, that being quarterbacks and tight ends.
Yeah, that was a beautifully written script right there, Chris. And of course, yeah, we are talking about quarterbacks and tight ends as well. Let's start first of all, though, with quarterbacks and just where our rankings are right now. You have the consensus rankings out there. I like to differ a little bit from what you see around Yahoo when you see these experts out there. Yes, you have your own expert right here. So I have Josh Allen, though. That is a consensus number one. I think it's pretty simple. But already at number two, I shake it up a little bit. A lot of people will say Drake May is around 3 or 4. A lot of people will have Lamar Jackson at 2.
Yeah.
I don't trust necessarily his health moving forward. He's a lot of do or die. And while there is a lot of value there and you get some great output game in, game out to a degree, I like to play it a little safer here. If you're going to go this high at quarterback, go with the guy that's going to give you more consistent points, which last year was Drake May. I don't expect that to change at all, especially with additions of receivers on the outside. Joe Burrow, if he can stay healthy, that's always the question. I still like him right there over Lamar Jackson. And Jaden Daniel rounds out that top 5, of course, if he could stay healthy. Then the top 10, if you look at this as well, Caleb Williams is a great value pick here. Jalen Hurts, that's Ariel's guy right there.
I was just going to say, I was glad you didn't put Hurts in the top 5 because I don't want anyone taking him. I want him for his tush push and all of the points that he's going to get off that.
Yeah, that's your value right there with Hurts, of course. Then you have Justin Herbert, who's my guy right there. He's going to be able to get some points, of course, with Ladd McConkey. A little bit of a different offensive scheme this year, so the Chargers should be interesting. Dak Prescott and Bo Nix round out the top 10. And finally, rolling through the top 15, Matthew Stafford, your reigning MVP, of course, at 11. Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes coming back from injury. Brock Purdy, of course, gets the addition of Mike Evans, and then Jackson Dart. Those are your top 15 guys.
Okay, I'll say this. You're going to get Drake May at number 2. You better get a good backup because I'm not starting Drake May in week 1 against the Seahawks defense. I don't want to be 0-1 in my fantasy football season.
For sure. And I mean, speaking of, though, the Seahawks game versus them, obvious omission there. Top 15 list, no Sam Darnold. I think that Sam is going to have plenty of points this year, especially with all those receivers.
A lot of weapons, Dusty.
What say you, Dusty?
Bo Nix over Sam Darnold?
Come on.
Absolutely, yeah. In fantasy level, yes. If you're going to get the good value, though, you go Sam Darnold incredibly late because I do think he has some significant fantasy value. If you're talking real world value, we all know what he is capable of, right? And of course, you saw his numbers last year, guys. Over 4,000 yards passing, 25 TDs. Those interceptions do hurt you, though, in fantasy a little bit. Those are a little bit more of a punisher. So that is something to keep in mind. Going to be interesting to see because he now doesn't have KW3 in the backfield. He's going to have to air it out more. So will those yards go up? Probably, or around the same numbers, but also, of course, a lot of key targets being JSN. You got on the outside Cooper Kupp and Rashid Shaheed, so he's got his targets. I'm going to be very intrigued to see where people value him as far as, do they have him as a backup? Is he a guy that you go for 1 week? In my honest opinion, guys, I think he's picked in my area around the 19th or 20th quarterback in fantasy, and he would be my backup as a guy that if I had an injury, I would have no issue with him being my starter. Guys, there is not a massive disparity, in my opinion, from the number 1 quarterback to the number 19 or 20 quarterback. A lot of people think there is, but at the end of the day, I draft quarterbacks usually in the 9th or 10th round. I like to get my value at running back and receiver first because that's where you get the biggest disparity as well as tight ends.
Okay.
I have one really important question, though, about the quarterbacks before we move on. Some leagues draft their players based off the hottest guys in the NFL, and Jimmy Garoppolo is no longer an option.
Yeah,
so
where do you go with that?
So can you help the people that draft that way? Who should they pick?
I just snorted for the first time on TV.
You know, honestly, I mean, Sam Darnold's a great-looking dude, so why don't we go that route, okay? I think that's the way that I might go. I mean, obviously, your top 5, let's be honest. Josh Allen's easy number 1, and also...
Oh, it's going to be Jalen Hurts.
Well, to each their own there. I think everybody has a different argument there, Ariel. But I would love to be in a league with you where you draft that strategy.
I mean, but
that's a good call.
But we don't objectify people on this podcast.
Not even a little bit.
I'll tell you the big difference on your list. Your second quarterback, Drake May, doesn't have a Super Bowl title, and the 19th quarterback does. So.
Also, not the hottest.
Yeah, not at all.
All facts, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't know how we move on, but we will. We're going to go from quarterbacks to tight ends. I know you have a pretty strong opinion, Dusty, on how to handle the tight end position. Give us your top 10 at the spot.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, and Ariel and I talked about this off air earlier, there is a massive drop off from 1 and 2 to really the rest of the field. Brock Bowers gives you possibly first round value. Then Trey McBride gives you second round, third round value. And then at this point, it's kind of a crapshoot. I mean, you look at Colson Loveland, he gives you some value, but I wouldn't pick him super early. I think a lot of people will pick him earlier than he probably should be picked. Tyler Warren doesn't have a great quarterback throwing to him. Sam Laporta had a drop-off. Then you go to your bottom 5 right here for that top 5. Tucker Kraft has injury issues. Kyle Pitts is a hit or miss. Harold Fannin might be the most intriguing piece right here, and he doesn't have a great quarterback to throw to, of course, with him. And then George Kittle's injury history is there. Dalton Kincaid still has to battle for receptions there with Dawson Knox. So I don't love tight end. I think you either go for your top 2 or you wait almost as late as you get your quarterback there and just address your wide receivers and your running backs. Tight end is just such a hit or miss position down the stretch per se, and I think if you don't have Brock Bowers, you don't have Trey McBride, you're kind of phoning it in there.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, like my league doesn't even have a designated tight end position. It's just another flex because there's really not 12 great ones to use. And as far as the sleepers go, though, if you do have to have one, AJ Barner heads into the season as the Seahawks' clear starter. But from a fantasy standpoint, does he really take a step in the next direction or provide any value?
Yeah, I think he provides some value. I think you're talking about obviously a backup there, and situationally, kind of the same answer as what I had for Sam Darnold. I think he's worth a roster spot. You're going to pick him in one of your last rounds, but look at the numbers he gave you last year. 7 touchdowns. That'll get you some points right there. 519 yards, 52 receptions. Expect that maybe to go up just slightly. I think he's got value. I wouldn't say it's significant fantasy value, but I do think that at the end of the day, especially if you're a Seahawks fan and you want to roster a Seahawk, this is a guy that you could pick up, and theoretically he has value for you from the depth side of things.
AJ Barner undoubtedly on that auxiliary team that we discussed earlier.
Yes, there you go.
I do. No Kelsey. I mean, he's married to Taylor Swift.
He's not Barner.
I'm going to let Ariel sound off on that one.
Barner with the fur coat and the cowboy hat, I think beats Travis Kelsey.
Okay, I think Swifty Nation helps Kelsey in the fantasy value this year. Dusty, we love you, buddy. Well done.